Welcome to the Machete Podcast. This is episode 3. And I'm Vlad. You like that? Yeah, coffee out of that. It's always something new on here. And I'm Vlad, your host tonight. Tonight, whatever it is. It's tonight for me because, day job calls and I have to go to work shortly. So I'm recording this and I'm going to edit it later. Anyway, I wanted to bring up something moving forward for the podcast. I wanted to touch on a subject, on Plato's allegory of the cave, actually. We're going to get a little philosophical here, to not muddle with the religiosity and everything else, but a little bit of philosophical stuff, because it really, sets the tone for, what this podcast is and moving forward, what I want to do with it, and, brings up some of my stuff. So when I come to you and I seem weird and I seem out there, it all makes sense because the allegory of the cave. So let's start this off with a wrist check. I've got a G-Shock GA 2100. Look at that bad boy. Bam! Modded by me, and an amethyst crystal that good friend Dustin O. Hope you're watching, Dustin. Gave me for peace and calmness of mind. Good man, that Dustin. Anyway, there are 2 ways to be fooled: to believe what isn't true, and to not believe what is true. Now let's just have that as the getting into this episode that we'll call Plato Cave. All right, Plato Cave. There we go. So this one's going to be about questioning the reality programmed into us. Because yes, I do believe there is a reality that's programmed into each and every one of us. It dates back as far as there's been leaders and followers. As long as there's been cave and light. Anyway, so what's Plato's cave? Got some cliff notes here. And we'll just go over a little bit. I'm giving you the short version of it. And then we'll go into the meanings of this and everything. You can look this up on here on YouTube or ask somebody about Plato's allegory of the cave and find out more deeper subject, or you can even read it yourself. Anyway, let's get into this. So there's a subterranean cave where captives are held in place with only a wall to look at. A fire is behind them, casting light and shadows on the wall. Objects and things are being passed by the fire, casting shadows on the wall. Now the captives give names and meaning to these shadows. These shadows are all the captives know. Okay, so there's a wall. One captive slips his chains, escaping the cave, and finally witnesses the world for what it is. So he goes outside. He sees the captives looking at the wall and sees all these shapes that they've been naming, like cow and cat and tree, are just shadows cast of actual objects. That therefore those are the shadows of that object. So they're not even seeing the real object, they're just seeing a shadow of it. So finally he escapes and he gets out of the cave. And for a while he can't even look at the sun, it's too bright. There's too much coming at him and too much realness. He's seeing real trees and real cows and real cats and real lakes and everything. And it's unbelievable because he's only ever seen shadows of these things that he was calling these things. So these things were real to him, but now he's seeing the real manifestation of these things, not just the shadows anymore. So upon seeing this, he realizes that it's up to him to go back and let his fellow captives know that they've been being lied to this whole time, that there's more to the world than just the cave wall, just this 2 dimensions that they've been staring at this whole time, and these things that have been cast upon them. Upon going back to the cave, he finds it with unease, because now his eyes have adjusted to the sun, and now it's dark, and now it's damp, now it's dingy, and it's reminding him of all the things that he used to not know. So it's almost like incomprehensible to him to go back into this cave because of how otherworldly he is now become. Upon explaining what he saw outside to the captives, they don't believe him. They call him crazy and even have him put to death. Now, that's crazy. So this brings up a couple of questions. Like when you go through the ideas and concepts of this allegory, this cave. So we've got a triangle, okay? We've got a triangle, right? And at the bottom, right? Well, at the top, this goes top down. So at the very top, we have forms. We have the things by the fire, right? That were casting shadows. And then we have concepts. So these concepts are so we have a form, and then we have what we think about the form, and then we have individuals, and then we have imitations of the individuals of the form. So you've got the form, the concept of the form, then the individuals, that is the remaking of the form, and then imitations of the individual. So further copies of a copy. So what is reality but a shadow of truth? I mean, what is it? Because the reality to those people in the cave, to those people, was they were seeing bears and cats and humans and people, and they were seeing these shadows, and they were naming them. Tree, cat, dog. But those are really just shadows of the real thing. And when told about the real thing, they thought it was crazy enough to put a man to death. I mean, so what is reality but a shadow of the truth? See, when one finds truth and thereby required to share it, how does one share what others will meet with disbelief, for it is out of their views? How does one do that? How does one, like the allegory of the cave, the man that escaped, how does he come back and tell them? So not to be put to death. Let's not be put to death, because I'm sure that you watching this have witnessed things that going back and telling someone else about it who didn't witness it is in disbelief. I mean, there's been everything from the trade centers falling to those who didn't see it, to everything, to any mystical experiences you've had, to any near-death experiences, like me being an addict in the addict community. Like a lot of them have near-death experiences, and it's if I wasn't an addict, I'd have my own experiences. Like, I wouldn't be able to believe it. I still can't believe some of it. I still don't believe some of my own stuff. It's crazy. What I've found out in my research, when you find something that challenges the status quo, when you find something that could get you shunned, mocked, ridiculed, put to death, you need a few things. You need patience, empathy through that adversity, the patience to see it through, and the empathy to realize, to recognize, like the man in the cave did when he came back. He failed to recognize what, and to feel what they were feeling. He failed to realize that all they ever knew were those shadows. Coming back in, he was like, oh, these shadows. So even when our eyes are open and we look back at the things that we've done in the past, like, how could I even have done that? Like, to have empathy for your past self, for the people still stuck in that place. Have empathy and put yourself in there and be like, oh, this is all I know. This would be shocking. How would I take this? And then have the patience to see it through. See, with this allegory of the cave, and with all of our allegories of our own caves that we go through, because we each go through caves now, like we do, there's a hero's journey, which is an adventure or transformation. See, we start off in the cave, we each do. And then, for whatever reason, we all depart the cave, and we all leave the cave. And then there's an initiation. We find something new, something fantastic, something that challenges our very beliefs, something that makes us think. Maybe this podcast is the thing that's making you think. Maybe you're thinking about how I talk fast and how I do things and how I put words together and how I formulate ideas and stuff. And it's not just... Maybe it's just not entertainment. Maybe there's something about it. Maybe it's so much satire that it's satire of satire to make you think. Maybe there's that question, like, what if, in my case, Vlad of the Machete is correct? What if in the last episode, President Trump is going to be our God Emperor, hooked to machines kept alive for millennia, fed thousands of souls from the humans of trillions of planets? Maybe it is. It all started with an attempt on him. What if that gets you questioning everything else that you thought by going over that, or your religiosity? But then, because of this, the hero's journey means we return. We return to describe and to say what we have found. We return to let the people know that are in the cave that what they're looking at is just but shadows of the reality. Just but shadows of the reality. You see, maybe it's just not right versus left. Maybe right versus left is two hands connected to a body that is just controlling us from the outside. Maybe it's not light and dark. Maybe it's a light and a refractive prism that's playing on the wall to entertain us and keep us locked in slumber, keep us locked in a battle against each other, to keep us locked without knowing. Maybe it's all just made up. Maybe all of it is. Maybe, this touches on everything from UFO phenomenon to maybe the simulation theory, all the way down to the prices of hamburgers at McDonald's. Like, who says they gotta be $2, $3? Who says that? We're just saying that. Maybe there's something else at ploy here, something else going on to condition us when the other ones are like $1. Is that because one costs more to do? Or are they conditioning us to get us to eat their processed food so we will be thankful when that's all we have is the processed food? We'll be like, oh, well, it's just like McDonald's. Yes, thank you. All the while we're dumbing ourselves down and we're bringing ourselves down a level and we're just becoming like sheep, not even captives, but sheep looking at shadow figures on a wall now. We're not even waiting for the hero to come back, for the man that slipped his chains to come back. We're just waiting for the slaughter. Maybe it's not so bad. Maybe it's not that bad. Maybe that's too controversial. Maybe it's too inflammatory. How dare you call out a whole section of the population and society with the food business? How dare you, Vlad? How dare you with these rambunctious ramblings of you? Yes, how dare I? How dare I? Maybe it's something less. Maybe it's your local government. Your local government. Maybe it's them doing something small, like enacting a higher tax level, and you rage against it, but then they show you that they planted new gardens, right? But the whole while your child's infrastructure, your child's school is making certain kids not eat because they haven't paid because they come from poor families. Where's the shadows on the wall to tell us that those shadows on the wall with the planting of the garden was not the real thing, but the real thing is greedy politicians, huh? What about that? What if our pursuit of a higher power, of a power greater than ourselves, has been tainted by so many years of everyone from the Vatican to the New Age mystics to everybody has their hands in a little pot, and they're all just like, let's just feed them enough and keep them going through the grinder to pass it down. I mean, we can't even pass down what we know anymore. I mean, this is where I get a little controversial, but even like I bless those who think for themselves and decide to teach their children all they know. Because they're passing down something they know. They're not letting it up to someone else, but they're doing it themselves. So all you moms out there, all you dads out there, teaching your kids what you know and to be critical thinkers while they know it, so they can question it themselves and see if it fits right with them. Good for you, because at the end of the day, we're all just looking at shadows on the wall. And some of us see the real deal Holyfield for what it is and try to bring back that knowledge, but without tempering it in our own minds first, we wouldn't be able to bring it forward with patience and conviction and empathy. So that's what we need as the hero's journey. That's what we need in Plato's cave. That's what we need. The courage to do this, the coffee to do this. I don't know why I said that, but I love my coffee. Can I plug Dunkin' Donuts coffee? Dunkin' Donuts coffee out of a measuring cup tonight to get ready for work. Why? Because I got bills to pay and dues to make, and I got hearts to heal, man. And by me going to work, I get to help people. But anyway, the courage to bring this to everything, and the courage to live this out. Not only just know this or bring it back, but to live it out. What if in Plato's cave, instead of the captive that slipped his chains, instead of him going back and being put to death, what if he was outcast? What if he was cast out? He'd have to live on his own. He'd have to have that resolve. Either give up what he knew and never talk about it again and rejoin them looking at the wall. What kind of life is that? It's worse than death almost, right? Because once you know, you know. But then living with that knowledge and having the courage to live with that knowledge and everything. And this brings up so many points with me and myself. And actually, I bring this up to bring up something that's been on my mind for a while to bring up on the podcast. And that's my spirituality. That was my finding. And when I say spirituality, don't just click off just yet. This isn't a plug for any religion or any school of thought or anything. The only school of thought it is a school of thought to challenge your own school of thought. Because my school of thought's been challenged. And if you're in any 12-step program, this should ring true to you, because we all have those moments, those spiritual moments, those manifestations of spirit and self and something other than ourselves, something greater than ourselves, that get us to think differently. And this is me coming back to the cave to let some of you know what it's like out there, what it's like to have a spiritual awakening. So let's rewind life. Let's rewind. And let's go back to 2 years ago. 2 years ago, September 18th, 2022. I get drunk. I got plastered. Probably did more stuff than that. I was looking for the good death, the good fighting death. I was a practicing Nordic polytheist, Asatru, Odinism, if you will, at the time, and looking for the good death to find my fiance that had passed away 2 years prior. I've been going at this for 2 years, this mighty quest to die the Viking death, so I could shed this mortal coil and find the love of my life again, because nothing will separate us. So I'm drinking, I'm drugging, I put myself through a walking, living hell, trying to find someone to kill me, anyone to end me, to unalive me, and can't find it. Keep getting beat up. Anyway, get drunk, drink, imbibe with myself, and go to sleep. I go to sleep. I hit my limit, and my little peepers had closed, but upon closing, bam! They're up. They're open. I'm in another world. I'm not of this world, and I know I'm not of this world, and I'm not even drunk. I'm awake, and I'm having a vision, and I'm in this great hall, and I'm like, takes me a minute. People are arguing, and there's people in armors that span generations, like different types of armor, from old style armor to futuristic armor to all sorts of armor. And there's men and women that are arguing about something, and like there's this great throne up there, and there's pillars, like these wooden columns, and on the wooden columns there's torches, right? And they're all arguing. There's swords and there's everything. And I realize I'm in Valhalla. I've made it. I've made it to the seat of everything I've been worshiping and talking about and ingesting, over the years. I made it here, but what are these heroes? What are these gods and goddesses arguing about? What could it be? And I'm sitting there trying to take it all in, wondering where I'm at, why I'm here. This is a vision. I'm supposed to be getting drunk for not being able to die. Here I'm in Valhalla. Did I die in my sleep? What's going on? Finally, the gentleman sitting next to me, right to my left, just to my left, like Charizard's right here. He's right here. This gentleman in this leather armor and what looks to be like a wolf pelt, and with like a dagger at his side and a sword on him. Like he smacks the table, just boom, and he stands up, and he goes. And this whole time I'm hearing voices like, "Oh, let him come be with us." No, he's not done with his mission yet. Finally, the guy sitting next to the table, he goes, "Let's let him decide." And off his side, he pulls out a deerskin satchel, right? Beautiful deerskin satchel. And he opens it up. Then he turns to me and he dumps it out. And out tumble my DOC, my drove of choice, right? Takes his hilt and he smashes him to a fine form, and pours me a decanter, a cup of booze, what I can only assume is booze from the smell. Smashes it down in front of me. He's like, "You decide. If you want to come back and be with us, take your fill. If not, stay where you are." By this time, I recognize this whole arguing and everything that's been going on in this ruckus of this beehive of gods and heroes has been about me, and it's been about my drug use and my drinking and my searching for death and at anyone's hands and everything else. And I realize I'm out of hand now. Now it just comes washing over me. Like I've been doing all this for 2 years after her death, and it's all been just overboard, just so overboard. So naturally, as the small little human I am, when I'm confronted by heroes and gods who've done more than I ever will, in my vision, I start stammering and I start talking, and I talk with my hands more. And I make a little bit of it like, "Oh, well, you know what? Hey, nice to see you. Hey, my guy, like doing stuff like that, right? Just they don't feel comfortable." Some of you might have noticed this. Some of you might have even done this yourselves, even. Anyway, I step up from the table. I'm taking in the surroundings, wondering what to say, just not knowing what to say. But I'm buying my time, and I see a food table, just a great table on the side, filled with food and drink and desserts, and looks delicious, real. I walk over to it, and I lock eyes, my eyeballs, on this beautiful vase, this beautiful decanter of water. And it's made of pure see-through glass. Almost can't even tell it's there. And it's just outlined in gold trim. And I take that, I take a cup that's there, and I pour myself the most beautiful looking water I've seen. And I raise it up, and I'm like, I make a decision. I'm not coming back yet. Not on these terms. Not with my drugging and my drinking and my wanton fighting for no cause. And I take that cup, and I raise it up. And I go, I'm not done yet. I'll see you all when I see you. And I take a swig of that, and as soon as my lips hit that water and my eyes close, they open up, and I'm in the real world with a friggin' migraine. Just hung over as crap. Felt like I didn't even sleep. Felt like nothing had happened. Nothing at all. And I wake up, and I'm discontent, and I'm grumpy, and I'm like, wow, that was weird. And I just shake it off, and I'm awake, but I'm just hung over. And I was like, well, it's time to go get my Four Locos. Because at this time, like, my addiction is in full swing. 2 years later after Andrea's death, my addiction's in full swing. And I have to go to the gas station to get a couple Four Locos. I have to drink those Four Locos to get to the liquor store to get me liquor for the day. This is the extent of the madness that I was driven to in my grief, not knowing how to grieve properly as a man, right? And so I go to the gas station, right? Because even though I just told these gods and these heroes, I'll see you when you see ya, I'm not done yet. I'm still bound and determined to get my Four Locos. I go down there, I go to grab a Four Loko, and then it dawns on me. You told them you were done. You told them you'd see them when you saw them. What are you doing grabbing the poison that they put in front of you? Give you a chance to come back in your sleep even. Who are you to do this, to go against your word? So instead of grabbing that, I grabbed a Fiji, the little square bottle of Fiji. This isn't a plug, they don't plug me. But I grabbed Fiji, my favorite water. Favorite water up at that point in time. Grabbed Fiji and grabbed a bag of smokes because I'm still smoking. And I paid for them, obviously. And I walked the next hour and a half to the gas station. Not the gas station, to the hospital. From the gas station to the hospital. Sorry, misspoke. To the hospital to check myself in for my alcoholism and my drug use and my insanity, and ask them not to release me and to send me to whatever program they could to have me find help. Now, it wasn't until sometime later, after I had graduated the next program, that I had found a further program that I had recognized, and then started a 12-step program. So it was like 3 programs later, from that moment, that I realized that I have a higher power, and I connected with the higher power. That higher power used the motifs, the language, if you will, of what I was studying and practicing to tell me I had a problem, right? So with knowing this, I now know there's something out there other than myself, other than the people I know, that communicates with me at least, in a way, in a loving way, in a caring way, to give me hope for tomorrow, to guide me, to correct me, to give me a choice even. Not coming down on me like a thumb on an ant, not coming at me like a scolding father or an abusive father, just coming at me in the language that I can speak at the time and connects with me. Having said this story, if I can pass on in this podcast or in anything I do, just to make you think and question everything, and get you finally to question maybe reality. There's something behind reality. Maybe there's something out there greater than ourselves. Maybe this episode will let you know that there is something great out there for me, and if there can be for me, this tattooed, crazy, not making sense guy, if there's gonna be something around there for me, that there was no repercussions, there was no court, there was nothing bad happening to me except me getting beat up. There was no consequence that led me to sobriety. It was a vision that led me to sobriety. And if there could be something that gives me a vision to lead me to sobriety, give me a choice to have sobriety, then what is out there that can lead you to find your peace and contentment? What if you just ask those questions, give it a chance? What if you follow, find a mentor, ask questions, find something greater than yourself, a power greater than yourself to believe in, something, anything that can absolve you of your insanity or your hurt or your pain. What if your pain doesn't have to be your pain anymore? What if you can throw that away? What if you can, and with that void, you can put something else in there? What if me coming back to tell you these things time and time again with each podcast, with each way of asking you to question a little bit, just a little bit. What if I keep coming back and telling you the things that I see outside of the cave, that I see in the sunlight? I describe them to you in the only ways I know how, because I'm still downloading the information from what I see and the connections I make. What if you start questioning those shadows on the wall that you see? What if? What a wonderful world we could make. But anyway, with that, here's Charizard. I'm Vlad. This is the Machete Podcast. Thank you for watching.